So guys, now we shall see an example JSP application on error page configuration. So if you look at this diagram or the image, I have a browser window and I have a web application which is Java-based web applications, contains test.jsp and it's a JSP program, and I have one more JSP program which is the error, and it is called as error page. So I have configured error page as error.jsp in my test.jsp, and I wrote remaining some code, some business logic, maybe arithmetic logics, maybe code operation logic, maybe persistent logic, okay, maybe any or controller logic. So I wrote some code that will raise an exception at runtime. Okay. So whenever this exception raised, it should internally call this error.jsp. Okay. And instead of showing technical error messages, maybe parameter, maybe JDBC, maybe database related operations, maybe query strings, maybe any technical messages to the browser, uh, or you can call to the end user or the layman. So instead of showing those technical messages to the end user, why do we show a proper display messages that will guide you? No, this page is causing the errors due to so and so. Okay, so that end user can understand. Oh, there is some glitch in the web applications or maybe in the website or ERP. So I'll use it later on. Okay, so let me draw the flow of executions. Let me draw the flow of executions. So so this request. First, I give the request. Then request will be trapped by test.jsp. Test.jsp. So this test.jsp will undergo to the executions, and here I configured a error page, that is error.jsp, and I wrote some code. I'll write some code which will raise an exception. Okay, and whenever the exception is raised up, in normal mode, if exception is not raised up, it will not call a error page. If exception is raised up, the same request will be forwarded. This whole code will be forwarded. Sorry, whole request, the same request will be forwarded to the error.jsp. And in the error.jsp, which is the error page, here I configured a page directive tag containing an attribute is error page of true. Is error page of true, and I wrote here a display message that guides to the end user whenever an exception is raised up. Okay, and this message will be given to the browser window at the end. Okay, fine. And next, the response will go back to again same browser window as a output. As output, if there is no error, if there is no exception, and if it is exception, this will go on a message. So I will add here the flow of execution. So here is, you can call request 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 one dot request means flow. This is first. Okay, then request will be trapped by your web application. So let me add here 2. Okay, then here is 3. Okay, here is 4.A. Okay, and here is 4.B. Okay, either output will be delivered or maybe guiding exception message will be delivered. So that's what I added. This will be delivered or this message will be delivered. I hope you are clear. So when this page will be called, so let me add the message here. Maybe I'll add the message here. Not so. So when exception is raised, when exception is raised. Let me add here 4.8. Better. It's a little better. Okay. And I'll remove this part. Delete. Fine. 4.1. Sorry, instead of 4.1, make it here 4.A. This is 4.B. Okay. Let me save. Actually, I should add here response. Response that is 4.b. Okay. This response when exception is raised. If exception is not raised, then will it call error page err.jsp? No. What is the business logic you wrote? The same business logic will be displayed as output. Right now? Fine, let me save. Where do I save? Okay, guys. Now let's create a web application. Let's create the web application. Okay, but before going to create a web application, uh, let me add one point. The implicit object, the implicit object that is exception, is visible in only those JSP programs that are acting as error pages, that are acting as a error pages using exception object, because exception is an implicit object for the JSP, right? Exception is an implicit object for the JSP. So using exception object, we can get the details about details about the exception that is raised. Exception that is raised in our web application. ठीक है? So let me create a sixth, right? Sixth, ठीक है? Sixth error page. It's a page directory tag only. So error page, and under this let me configure here test.jsp. Let me configure here error.jsp. Right up. Let me configure here web-INF. Under this, let me configure here web.xml. So this is my deployment directory structures. This is my what? Deployment directory structure. So let me write the test.jsp. First, let me create the folder in my Tomcat. Okay. So let me go to my, do I move? Apache Software Foundation, Tomcat. Then web apps, new folder. Okay, 6 error page. 6 error page. Under this, let me create one more folder. What? web-INF. Okay. So classes you create or don't create. Presently, I don't need the classes. Even lib folder also not required because I'm not going to use any third-party jars. So alt of new others. So here is my JSP, and this is my main.jsp. Here I will be adding my business logic, which will raise an exception. And I will configure a page directory tag with the error page, telling that this is the main page. Whenever the exception is raised, forward to the web.xml. Sorry, error.jsp. So let's write the logic. Simple, nothing. I'm trying to load a class which is not available here. Okay, so simple. Write any logic which will throw an error. First, I'll show simple logic. Okay, and next I will try to convert the same logic. Simply, if you try to load a class.form, maybe the class is not available. Will it throw an error? If you try to load a class and that class is not available in class path in the library also, in the jars also, will it generate error or it will show an output? Generate the error, na? Simple. Either without importing a package, try to access. Will generate error? Right or wrong? So it's simple, anything. So let me save this file first. Save. Where do I save? D drive, CSMSs, not CSMSs, Apache Software Foundation, Tomcat 10, web apps, 6 error page, test, sorry, not uppercase test, okay, test.jsp. So simply I'll keep everything in the center, means you will have proper visibility, and somewhat I'm trying to make a bigger font. That's it, okay, and I'll configure error page. So here is my page directive. So page directive, so at the red page, and let me configure here as a error page. So whenever an error occurs, throw an error to the appropriate web resource programs, error web resource programs. So here I'll add err.jsp. Okay, fine now. This will execute once error occurs, nothing else. I'll keep some break tag. So you need not to know about all this stuff. Just focus on business logic. Okay. So here first I will add something like where I am from test.jsp of 6 error page web application, right? Fine. So that actually this will be the output, simple, huh? And that's it. And what I'll do, I'll write some scriptlet tag, and here I'll try to load a class.format. Tell me any class. By default, which class will be available? Tell me. Either you import or don't import. This class will be available by default for your class. JSP equivalent solid class in this case. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to load a class. Now this is the beginning, starting, and I wish to add one more, so that after error, this will be after error. Because this line cause errors. Now at this statement, at this phase, this line will not cause error. Next I will modify, that may cause the error. We'll throw an error exception. So break. Only one break is there. I added one more break. Okay, fine. Fine. And let me create one more row. Let me create one more row. And here I'll configure a error page. Sorry, is error page attribute. So here is error page. So here instead of in the test.jsp, end of test.jsp. Now this is the is error page. So instead of is error page, I'll keep here as a show. Good. Now what I'll do, instead of showing the technical error messages, now if I don't configure error page, and if this single line creates an error, it will show a technical message, right? Only we have seen number of technical messages in the previous sessions with respect to JSP. So even though while practicing your solid also, you have seen some class not found, this line causing the error, line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, scriptlet, declarations, variables, undeclared methods. Okay, maybe some expressions. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll keep this same format. Fine. So I am from where? So here is error.jsp, and fine. That's it. Maybe I'll use here some tag like italic, some internal problem causing problems is time. That's it. A simple message is time. Okay. Suppose if I wish to show now, okay, this is the error messages. Still, if you want to show the exception, use scriptlet tag. Use the scriptlet tag. Okay. Use the scriptlet tag and show the error. So I'm using the scriptlet tag here. So as I told you already, so in the evening session, I have exception object. Okay, that gives me the details about the exception that is raised. The exception that is raised only in a error page. Only in a error page means I should make that error page is a true, and the exception object in this object will be available. So I will here already I have made my error page is a true. Okay, already I have made my object as a error page is a true. Fine. So let me lift my phone call just a minute. The exception, the exception, exception that is raised, ठीक है? Exception dot toString, right? And this exception is an implicit object of a JSP, right? Now simply start. So just deploy this application now. First, let me save. Let me save beside to test web apps 6 error page, and here is error.jsp. Error.jsp. Okay, just deploy this web applications, nothing else. So where do I go? And one more thing, I need to create a without web.xml. Without web.xml, as your application works, at least it should be an empty, na? Web-app. Okay, save. Where should I save? Tomcat web apps 6 error page WEB-INF. So give the name called web.xml. Web.xml. Okay. Either use twice double tag and end with a tag, or single tag directly slash. This will also work. And just start it now. It's time to deploy the application. Already deployed. Deploy. Start server. Start the server. Deploy it. Deploy the web application and test the web application. Okay. So let me go to my Tomcat or Tomcat pin. Tomcat. It is starting. Okay, done. Let me open the Chrome. And here let me start the localhost. Six error page. Let me give the request to my test.jsp. Okay. Now this is I am from test.jsp, and the object is loaded automatically and there is no error. What I will do, I will modify here object my object. Okay, and just save. Okay, save and just refresh the web application. Look, is it clear? Huh? Actually, this message is for your case. This is useful for your programmer point of view. Okay. Actually, it is not recommended to throw an error onto the browser window. to the end user. Instead of that, configure the logs. Log4j is a tool. Okay, you can configure Maven. Automatically it comes along with the Maven only. If you have Maven repository in the pom.xml file, so directly log.error, log.message, log.warnings. You can configure those, and these messages will be stored in log files. Okay, so I hope you are clear about this error page. Clear? केकन समजलं का का काही बाउन्स झालं समजलं so this is one web applications like this you can create some other web application guys okay so what I'll do uh, this is for local error page configuration. This is for local error page configuration. Local error page configuration means uh, so local error page configuration. Okay. Now I'll configure a global now. Just you need to create a web.xml. Okay. One tag, just like a welcome tag, just like a load on startup, you have to add one more tag, error page. You have to add one more tag, that is error page. So that will act as a global error page in web.xml file. Okay, fine. So